Here's the cold truth. When crisis hits, it's not the people with fancy bug-out bunkers who thrive, it's the ones who stock smart. Because when shelves go bare and supply chains snap, it's not about what you wish you had, it's about what you already bought in bulk. The preppers who planned ahead aren't panicking. They're sitting on gold disguised as canned food, fuel, and medical supplies. Let's be real. Prepping isn't about paranoia, it's about preparation. The key isn't spending thousands on gadgets, it's knowing what to stockpile before everyone else catches on. The trick? Buying the right essentials in bulk while prices are still sane. That's why we've rounded up 12 must-have items preppers buy in bulk before it's too late. These aren't impulse buys or nice-to-haves. They're the backbone of every serious survival stash. From long shelf-life foods to items that vanish first in every crisis, these are the things smart preppers are quietly loading up on right now. And number 5? Let's just say once people realize its true value, it'll be the first thing off every shelf. Let's dive in. Number 1, rice and beans, the survival duo. Let's kick things off with the ultimate survival duo, rice and beans. Think of them as the Batman and Robin of prepper food, cheap, dependable, and insanely filling. Together, they provide the perfect combo of carbs and protein, keeping you fueled and strong when everything else is falling apart. You can survive for months on just this pairing, and your body won't miss a beat. But here's the controversial truth most people won't tell you. While everyone's obsessing over exotic survival gear, the real lifesavers aren't tactical knives or fancy dehydrated meals. They're sitting quietly on supermarket shelves, ignored by the unprepared masses. Here's the wild part. A 50-pound bag of rice can go for under $30, and dry beans cost less than $1 a pound. That's less than 50 cents a meal for something that could literally keep you alive while everyone else scrambles for scraps. And yet, most people scoff at the idea, thinking it's boring or poor man's food. Meanwhile, prices are only climbing. Rice jumped over 14% last year, and beans aren't far behind. So while casual shoppers wait for sales, the smart preppers are quietly stockpiling, knowing that in a crisis, the clueless masses will pay whatever it takes for a cup of beans and a scoop of rice. Storage couldn't be easier. Toss them in airtight containers with oxygen absorbers or Mylar bags, and you're looking at 25 to 30 years of shelf life. That's longer than some marriages last, longer than most people's emergency plans, and certainly longer than the patience of the average consumer when shelves run dry. At the end of the day, rice and beans aren't just food. They're edible insurance, the kind of practical prep that separates the survivalists from the Instagram prepper wannabes. And if you think this combo is impressive, just wait. The next survival staple on the list is criminally underrated, disappears instantly during a crisis, and yet everyone will act like it was impossible to find until it's too late. Number 2, water purification tablets, liquid gold in a tablet. Here's the brutal truth most preppers refuse to admit. You can skip meals, ration food, and even survive on canned beans for weeks, but water? That's the ultimate non-negotiable. 3 days without it, and your body literally starts betraying you. Yet somehow, the survivalist community obsesses over dehydrated gourmet meals, solar-powered gadgets, and overpriced doomsday kits, while ignoring the one item that actually keeps you alive. Water purification tablets are the silent lifesavers nobody talks about, and that oversight can kill you faster than you think. Each tiny tablet can treat a full liter of water, obliterating bacteria, viruses, and parasites that would knock you out faster than hunger ever could. They weigh almost nothing, fit in your pocket, and a single $10 bottle can purify 25 to 50 gallons of water. That's insane value, yet people keep buying overpriced survival kits full of gimmicks and junk that would be useless if the water you drink turns toxic. Meanwhile, the real life-saving gear sits ignored on dusty store shelves, waiting for someone smart enough to notice. Here's where it gets controversial. After every major hurricane, demand for these tablets spikes by over 30%, and suppliers scramble to keep up. When the next crisis hits, they vanish first, leaving the masses to panic buy whatever water they can find, often contaminated, overpriced, or both. And while everyone else is hoarding freeze-dried meals and solar flashlights, they're the ones left dehydrated, desperate, and cursing their own ignorance. Storage is stupidly simple. Keep them sealed, cool, and dry. They'll last 4 to 5 years, even longer if you shield them from moisture. That's more than most survival kits, which expire faster than the hype that sold them. Think of water purification tablets as liquid insurance, All the rice, beans, and canned meat in the world won't save you if your water source turns toxic. And here's the real kicker. If you think water is critical, brace yourself. The next item on this list is the one that actually separates casual preppers from true survivalists. It's controversial, essential, and will make you question every other life-saving purchase you've made. Because when chaos hits, it won't matter how pretty your bug-out bag looks. It's the stuff nobody wants to talk about that keeps you alive. Number 3, canned protein, tuna, chicken, Spam, the muscle in a can. Here's a harsh reality nobody wants to admit. When the grid goes down, fresh meat is gone before most people even realize it. No grocery store, no freezer, no steak dinner. That's where canned protein becomes your ultimate survival ally. Tuna, chicken, Spam. Not glamorous, not Instagram-worthy, but packed with the muscle-building protein your body desperately needs when the rest of your pantry is full of carbs, sugar, and empty calories. And let's be honest, most preppers spend hundreds on fancy freeze-dried meals that taste like cardboard and last 2 years while ignoring the cheap, practical stuff that actually sustains life. Name-brand canned tuna goes for about $1 a can. Bulk packs of Spam or chicken under $2. That's pennies per serving for a product that lasts 3 to 5 years without refrigeration. Meanwhile, fresh beef has jumped over 20% this past year alone. The math is brutal. The luxury meats of today are the starvation foods of tomorrow. Using canned protein is stupidly simple. Mix it with rice, beans, or pasta, and you have a meal that's balanced, energy-packed, and stress-free. No cooking, no cleanup, no how do I make this edible panic. Just ready-to-go fuel. Storage is even easier. Cool, dry, rotate, oldest first. That's it. Here's the part that separates the casual hoarders from the real survivalists. In a crisis, protein equals power. The people with it stay strong, sharp, and capable. The people without? They're the ones getting weak, desperate, and making mistakes that could cost them. And speaking of power, brace yourself. The next item on this list isn't just about calories. It's about keeping your body, your brain, and your supplies running when everything else goes dark. The unprepared? They'll wish they'd paid attention. Number 4, medical supplies and first aid kits. Your at-home ER. Here's a truth most people don't want to face. In a real emergency, it's rarely the headline disasters that get you. It's the small stuff. A tiny cut that turns septic, a burn that won't stop hurting, or a sudden infection when hospitals are overflowing and pharmacies are empty. That's why serious preppers treat medical supplies like pure gold, because neglecting them isn't just careless, it's deadly. We're talking painkillers, antiseptic wipes, bandages, gauze, burn cream, hydrogen peroxide, and even basic antibiotics if you can get them legally. These aren't luxury items for the overly cautious. They're survival essentials. You can assemble a solid first aid kit for under $40 or build it piece by piece for even less. And here's where it gets frustrating. Prices on basic medical items like rubbing alcohol, bandages, and over-the-counter painkillers jumped nearly 18% last year, and the trend shows no sign of slowing. People are wasting money on gimmicky survival kits while ignoring what actually saves lives. Think bigger than a simple boo-boo kit. You need supplies that cover infection control, pain management, wound closure, fever reduction, basically everything you'd pray you had before disaster strikes. Keep everything in a cool, dry, clearly labeled container and check expiration dates every 6 months. Most meds last longer than the label says, but organization isn't optional. It's literally life or death. Here's the kicker. When everyone else is panicking and scrounging for bandages or fever meds, you'll already have what you need, calm and in control. The unprepared? They're the ones making rookie mistakes, risking infections, and sending themselves to the ER that doesn't exist anymore. And the next item on this list? It's the unsung hero that literally keeps the lights on, the thing that separates preppers who survive from the ones who sit in the dark, helpless, wondering why they didn't prepare. Number 5, batteries AA, AAA, and 9V. Power when the lights go out. Let's get real. When the grid goes down, electricity instantly becomes a luxury, not a given. And the only thing standing between you and total darkness? Batteries, flashlights, radios, headlamps, even some emergency medical gear. None of it runs on hope or good intentions. It all runs on power, and without it, you're blind, deaf, and dangerously exposed. Here's the predictable chaos. The moment a blackout or storm warning hits, people swarm stores for batteries like it's Black Friday. Within hours, shelves are bare, online prices spike, and panic sets in. Meanwhile, seasoned preppers already have months' worth stacked, rotated, and ready to go. AA, AAA, and 9V. That's the trifecta keeping your life-saving devices alive for weeks, even when everyone else is stumbling around in the dark. Name-brand batteries can be snagged online for as little as 50 cents each, and if stored properly, they last 7 to 10 years. That's cheap insurance for a world where a flashlight can mean the difference between safety and chaos. But here's the kicker. Lithium prices are climbing fast, and the cost of batteries could easily double next season. People ignoring this? They'll pay far more later, or worse, go powerless when it matters most. Storage is shockingly simple. Cool, dry spot, not the fridge, rotate older packs to the front, and consider vacuum sealing a few for humidity protection. Do this, and future you will breathe easy while everyone else scrambles. Power equals safety. Power equals control. Power equals survival. And if you think that's critical, just wait. The next item on this list isn't flashy or sexy, but it saved more sanity, time, and headaches in 2020 than almost anything else on this list. It's the quiet hero every serious prepper should have on lockdown. Number 6, toilet paper and hygiene items, because clean equals sane. Remember 2020? People went full caveman over toilet paper, and the panic taught a harsh lesson. Hygiene isn't a luxury, it's survival. You can live without power, without comfort, without fancy gadgets, but go a few days without basic cleanliness, and your body and mind start falling apart fast. Neglect hygiene, and minor issues spiral into infections, rashes, or worse. Your morale tanks, your health suffers, and suddenly surviving isn't just about food and water, it's about staying human. We're talking toilet paper, soap, toothpaste, feminine products, wet wipes, and even hand sanitizer. These aren't nice-to-haves, they're essential morale boosters when life gets messy. They prevent infection, protect your sanity, and stop small problems from snowballing into emergencies. Plus, when society flips upside down, these items instantly become trade gold, more valuable than some people's idea of survival gear. The math is simple. A 24-pack of toilet paper still goes for under $15, bars of soap for less than $1 each. But don't get smug. Paper products are climbing 10 to 15% annually due to supply chain issues and pulp shortages. Wait to grab some later and you could easily pay double, or worse, find empty shelves and angry lines. Storage is idiot-proof. Keep toilet paper sealed in plastic totes or bags to protect from moisture and pests, and stash soaps and wipes in a cool spot so they don't dry out. Travel-size hygiene kits are game changers if you need to bug out fast. Bottom line, staying clean keeps you calm, and in chaos, calm people survive longer. And the next item, it brings the heat, literally. This isn't about comfort, it's about survival. It can mean the difference between a warm meal and a freezing night in the dark, and it's one of the quietest heroes of any prepper's stash. Number 7, fuel and propane canisters, the real survival lifeline. Here's a truth most people don't grasp until it's too late. When the power goes out, everything stops. No heat, no stove, no hot meals, no comfort, no way to charge your devices, no nothing. That's why fuel is one of the most critical survival assets you can stockpile. Propane, lighter fluid, butane, even charcoal. These are the silent heroes that keep you warm, fed, and sane when the grid fails. Ignore them, and you'll be shivering, starving, and watching the world go dark. A single 20-pound propane tank can power a small grill or heater for days, and a box of charcoal, still under $15, can cook you through an entire week if rationed wisely. Meanwhile, fuel prices are climbing fast. Propane alone has jumped over 25% in the past 2 years. Wait until disaster hits, and you'll either pay a fortune or go cold and hungry. Those who scoff at stockpiling fuel, they'll be wishing they'd taken this seriously when they're scraping for scraps of firewood in the rain. Rotation is everything. Use older tanks first, check your gear regularly, and always have multiple ignition sources. Matches, lighters, ferro rods. Fire isn't just warmth, it's freedom. For storage, keep propane tanks outdoors in a shaded, ventilated area, never inside. Store butane and lighter fluids cool and upright, and label everything clearly. If you can smell fumes, you've stored it wrong, and that mistake can be deadly. In a blackout, your ability to eat, stay warm, and even see depends on one thing: fuel. No food, no water, no batteries can replace it. And if even one of these tips has surprised you so far, Just imagine how many more survival secrets are coming. The next item might not heat your home, but it'll keep your spirit alive when meals start tasting like cardboard and your patience is running thin. Number 8. Salt and spices. Flavor that saves lives. Here's the harsh reality most preppers overlook. In survival mode, food fatigue is real, brutal, and fast. You can have mountains of rice and beans, but after a week of the same bland meals, morale tanks, irritability spikes, and even basic decision-making starts to fail. That's where salt and spices come in. They don't just make food taste better, they keep you sane, hydrated, and even alive. Salt is a triple threat. It preserves food, replenishes electrolytes lost to stress and exertion, and adds flavor to otherwise bland rations. A 25-pound bag still runs under $10, and if stored dry, it basically lasts forever. Spices are cheap, tiny, and powerful morale boosters. A pinch of garlic powder, chili, or cumin can transform monotonous stockpile meals into something your brain actually looks forward to eating. Here's the kicker. Spice prices jumped over 20% last year, and supply chains for imports like pepper, cinnamon, and vanilla are shaky. Wait too long and you'll be paying gourmet prices for what should be a basic survival tool. Mix salt with sugar to cure meats or use spice blends to stretch plain dishes. A little flavor tricks your body into feeling more satisfied even when portions are tight. Storage is easy. Keep salt airtight in sealed buckets or jars to block moisture, and store spices in dark, cool cupboards or vacuum-sealed packs to preserve potency. Skimp on this, and you're not just eating bland food, you're lowering morale. And in a crisis, morale is survival. The unprepared will eat tasteless meals, get frustrated, and make mistakes that cost them more than just flavor. And speaking of morale, the next item isn't just comfort, it's pure motivation in a mug. A tiny boost that can keep spirits and survival instincts alive when everything else feels hopeless. Number 9. Coffee and instant drink mixes. The sanity saviors. Here's the reality most people ignore. When everything goes dark, routines vanish, and stress spikes, a cup of coffee can feel like hope in a mug. Caffeine withdrawal isn't cute. Headaches, irritability, brain fog, zero focus. In a crisis, that's the last thing you need. That's why seasoned preppers stock up on coffee, tea, cocoa, and electrolyte drink mixes like their sanity depends on it. Because frankly, it does. Instant coffee packs and powdered mixes are lightweight, long-lasting, and dirt cheap. Bulk packs run under $10, and ground coffee comes in at less than 30 cents a cup when bought in bulk. Electrolyte powders are equally critical. They keep your energy up when you're sweating through labor or fighting dehydration. Ignore them and you're looking at a miserable, foggy, grumpy version of yourself, exactly when you need your wits sharp. Here's the kicker. Global coffee prices have spiked nearly 50% since last year thanks to supply shortages and climate damage to crops. That daily comfort you take for granted, it's getting pricier every month. Rotate your stock every few months, vacuum seal coffee or tea for freshness, and throw in powdered creamer or sugar packets, cheap, long-lasting, morale-boosting additions that make survival a little less miserable. Store everything airtight, away from light and moisture. A Mylar bag with an oxygen absorber can keep coffee and drink mixes fresh for years. In survival, comfort is currency, and that first sip of coffee when the world feels broken, that's pure mental fuel. The unprepared, they'll be cranky, exhausted, and making poor decisions while you're calm, caffeinated, and in control. And speaking of keeping your body strong, the next item isn't about flavor. It's about ensuring your body doesn't run on empty when food variety disappears. This one separates casual preppers from the ones who actually survive the long haul. Number 10, multivitamins. Tiny pills, massive payoff. Here's a harsh truth most beginners overlook. When your diet shrinks to rice, beans, and canned goods, your body starts missing critical nutrients fast. That's where multivitamins become your secret weapon. Small, cheap, and ridiculously powerful, they can literally keep your body running when your food options are limited. And without them, your strength, focus, and immunity start slipping faster than you think. A single bottle of 300 tablets costs under $15, providing a full year's worth of nutrition insurance, pennies a day to stay healthy, alert, and capable. When fresh food disappears, vitamins fill in the gaps for iron, calcium, B-complex nutrients, and more, preventing fatigue, muscle weakness, and brain fog. In long-term survival, staying sharp isn't a luxury. It's the difference between making smart decisions or burning out and making dangerous mistakes. Here's the kicker. Supplement prices quietly jumped 12% last year due to global shortages of raw ingredients like zinc and magnesium. Wait too long and you'll pay more for something that could literally save your life. Take one multivitamin a day, ideally with food or a spoonful of oil or nut butter. Fat helps your body absorb the nutrients efficiently. Skipping this, you're risking your health silently without even realizing it until it's too late. Storage is easy. Cool, dry, dark spot. Avoid bathrooms or hot garages. Most vitamins remain potent 2 to 3 years past expiration if stored properly. They might not look tactical or sexy, but in a survival scenario, they're your silent engine, keeping your body, mind, and immune system running when everything else fails. And if you think multivitamins are practical, just wait. The next item is even wilder. Cheap, common, and packed with dozens of life-saving uses most people never even think about. Missing it? That's a mistake you'll regret in a real crisis. Number 11, trash bags and duct tape. The MacGyver duo. This one sounds basic, but don't sleep on it. Trash bags and duct tape are the unsung heroes of survival gear. Cheap, versatile, and ridiculously effective in ways most people never imagine. They're basically the Swiss Army knife of prepper supplies. Need to seal a broken window, patch a tent, make a poncho, or collect rainwater? Trash bags have you covered. Need to fix gear, secure splints, or waterproof a shelter? That's duct tape's domain. Together, they solve dozens of survival problems. And the best part? You can get both for under $20 total. Less than a drive-through meal. Here's the kicker. Since the pandemic, plastic and adhesive prices have climbed 30%, and manufacturers are warning of further shortages. Next time panic buying hits, these boring items will vanish faster than canned food. Heavy-duty contractor bags, 3 mil or thicker, double as emergency rain ponchos or sleeping bag liners. Duct tape, keep a few feet wrapped around a lighter or flashlight handle so you always have some on hand. Lightweight and ready to roll. Store both in a cool, dry place away from direct sunlight. Heat breaks down adhesives and weakens plastic. If stored correctly, they'll last for years. They're not flashy, they're not fancy, but they're the tools that make impossible tasks possible. And now for the final item. The ultimate long-term survival play. The one thing that can actually rebuild your food supply when the shelves are empty for good. Number 12. Seeds. Heirloom, non-GMO, the reset button. This is where short-term prepping turns into long-term survival. Seeds, especially heirloom, non-GMO varieties, are your ultimate reset button. When canned food runs out and shelves stay empty, the only people eating fresh food are the ones who can grow it themselves. That's why seasoned preppers treat seeds like insurance policies. You hope you never need to cash them in, but when you do, they're priceless. Heirloom seeds are the real deal. They reproduce naturally, letting you harvest, dry, and replant year after year without relying on store-bought stock. Full starter kits of heirloom veggies can still be found for under $25, enough to grow hundreds of pounds of food. That's a return on investment no stockpile can beat. But here's the urgency. Seed prices have already climbed 15 to 20% in the past year, and each growing season pushes demand even higher. Once food shortages hit, these disappear overnight. Focus on easy, high-yield crops first. Beans, potatoes, tomatoes, spinach, and peppers. They grow fast, store well, and keep your calories up. Save a portion of every harvest to dry and store for the next season. That's how a one-time buy turns into a lifetime supply. Store seeds in cool, dark, airtight containers with silica packets to block moisture. Stored correctly, they can last 5 to 10 years without losing viability. Bottom line, food stockpiles eventually run out. Seeds rebuild them. When you can grow your own food, you're not just surviving, you're free. If this list feels like a lot, that's because real survival doesn't mess around. The ones who ignore these essentials, they panic, scramble, and pay the price. The ones who prep, they stay calm, in control, and ready for anything. These 12 items aren't just cheap, they're lifesavers. Because when disaster hits, it's too late to start Googling, what should I have stocked? So hit subscribe. More no-fluff, real-world survival tips are coming your way. And before you go, which of these 12 are you stocking first? Drop it in the comments and help someone else prep smarter. Stay prepared, stay sharp. And remember, survival isn't about spending big, it's about thinking smarter.